This is the story of a love affair between Christine K. and Jeffrey S. and David B. and Christine's sweetheart. Now it sounds a little convoluted, but soon it will become crystal clear. In the mid-90s, a mutual friend introduced Christine and Jeffrey. They fell in love. Jeffrey wanted to have a boat. Christine wanted to have a bed and breakfast. So Jeffrey asked Christine if her bed and breakfast had to always be in one spot. But I'm getting ahead of the story. You see, it really started back in 1929 when David B. first came on the scene. It was built at the famed Lake Washington shipyards in Seattle, and when David B. came down the skids, it headed for Alaska as a tender for the fishing industry. In 1952, it was parked on a graveled beach in Bristol Bay and sat there. Each July 4th, a group of old-timers would start the 3-cylinder diesel engine just to listen to her, which really saved the boat for what it would become. In 1998, infused with youth and dreams and enthusiasm, Jeffrey and Christine bought the David B. with the hope of entwining Christine's dream of having a bed and breakfast and Jeffrey's dream of owning a boat. For 7 years, they dedicated their lives, their muscle and their sweat, and their money into restoring the 70-plus-year-old boat. Slowly, it came back to life. And in 2005, they signed up their first passenger for the maiden voyage of the MV David B. Cruising Bed and Breakfast.
I'd really like to think that they come because they can relax. And I don't know if people think about that ahead of time, that that's going to be a big part of it. That's the kind of thing that I really want to see people be able to do. Come out here, enjoy themselves, really relax. There's nothing they can do but look out the windows, read a book, eat some more food, smell some more bread. Thanks.
I went to Dirty Job for my first high.
We are right here in the center of this, going this direction, down through there, and right into here in Roche Harbor.
Whether you're motoring on the David B. through the San Juan Islands, up to Ketchikan or Juneau, on week-long trips out of Juneau, or to Canada's Desolation Sound, you'll be greeted with an assortment of delicious foods before heading for your quarters and the surprise cast-iron bathtub. You'll quickly realize this ride will be far different from one with 3,000 passengers.
Oh, that's yummy.
You know, we just are ourselves, and we just invite people onto the boat, and you know, we're friendly and our passengers are friendly, so I think that's how we meet people's expectations, and we do everything we can to find wildlife and to feed people well and to make sure that they're comfortable on the boat, and by taking care of people we can meet their expectations.
On this trip, Jeffrey took us through a narrow passageway into Echo Bay where we spent the night, part of one of the many San Juan Islands.
You know, and we start talking about how much we love this boat and how cool we think it is. I think people are converted to realizing that it's an amazing historical thing.
Being in a small boat, together all the time, it's really nice that we can work so easily together. Are you going to come up and yell at me now?
In addition to doing just about nothing, you can explore islands on the land or from the water.
We have a lot of people who haven't kayaked before, and initially most of them are a little bit hesitant to try. We have 3 really stable double kayaks, and we've shown a lot of people how to kayak, and they've gotten a huge amount of enjoyment out of it. It's really fun to be able to go and explore really close to the beach. If you hold on right here in the middle of the boat from side to side, then the boat won't roll over. So if you put your hand right back there, and then you can slide yourself in, just like that.
Farewell.
Goodbye. Okay, that looks good. And yeah, remember, keep both on the same side. Very nice. And push forward with your arms. We're gonna go down towards the head of the bay. So you can kind of see there's some purple sea stars in some of the cracks. If you come over towards the shore, there's a whole bunch of anemones in the water. I think during the last ice age, they called the Puget lobe of the Cordilleran ice sheet. And the ice was about a mile thick in places. They came through and they carved out the islands, mostly with their weight, and they kind of bulldozed, pushed through.
See the clamshell.
It's the fastest sea star we have.
Did you see that?
It is so peaceful and beautiful, and we're the only kayakers out. So. It's wonderful, and you just glide along it. There's hardly any effort in this glassy water. It's just so nice to be away from the crowds, and it's just so beautiful. I could live out here.
Remember we mentioned Christine's sweetheart? Well, it's time to meet her.
The boat originally came with a wood stove on it, and it was a little bit small and it definitely needed a lot of work. So we spent a lot of time debating whether or not we should buy a new one or have that one reconditioned. And we figured, you know, it's just small enough that I think we should probably go with a new one. And over here, everything's on hot. This is all medium right here. I can keep coffee warm. When I bake a bread, like this one, the crust on it, I can get a nice darker crust on it, whereas at home it just doesn't cook as well. And so my breads here always turn out much better than they do at home. Things are a little bit cooler in here. Up here it's really hot. Open up this, you grab a piece of wood, you put it in. We really wanted to have it someplace where it was basically the heart and soul of the boat. And that door right there is the one that shows the stove off the most. And people will walk down the dock, they think the boat's, oh, it's an interesting boat, it's really neat, it's very different. And then they come down here and they stop, they look through the window and just like, that's not for real, is it? And they're like, yeah, it is. It's really wood. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
Jeffrey is fully aware what one of the main draws of the David B is.
The food. I can do anything I want to find us wildlife in all the appropriate places, and it never looks like I'm doing anything. But what Christine is doing is very well appreciated, partly because people know how much work it is to make food, and they know how tasty it is when, you know, her food is so good that
there's nothing better than having somebody cook something for you, and I just love the feeling of presenting people with, you know, something that's been home cooked, that's, you know, not, you know, from a freezer, and it's, you know, it's fresh and it's tasty, and I made it, and yeah, I think it's a lot of fun for me. So for breakfast this morning, we have a thick cut pepper bacon, we have croissants and chocolate croissants, and we have some fruit. We'll also have some omelets, and with them you can have smoked salmon or some just chopped up vegetables. So I guess that's for breakfast this morning. I started my sourdough starter on our first year running the boat, and on our way up to Alaska while we were going through an area of water in Canada called the Whiskey Gulf Military Zone. And I was making my sourdough. I was mixing flour, water, and grapes together. We're sitting there talking about the about what we should name it, because we thought, well, it's got to have a name. So we thought, well, what would be better for sourdough than to be named Whiskey Golf? So that's how it got its name, and I've had it now for about 3 years. And I feed it water and flour every day that I use it. And these rolls I'm making here are rosemary, and they were made with Whiskey Golf this afternoon, just a couple hours ago, and we're going to have them with dinner tonight. Okay, back here we have some croissants that I'm going to make for breakfast tomorrow. And tonight we're going to have pesto pasta for dinner.
No matter where you go on the David B., the driving force is the 1928 three-cylinder diesel-fueled engine, Jeffrey's second love. Jeffrey intimately knows every inch, every quirk, every special need of this classic engine. Every once in a while, he'll ask Christine to take the wheel, and he'll pop down to the engine room to tweak a little.
We have a spotting scope that we set up pretty frequently when we're anchored somewhere, if we have a good bird sighting. We see a lot of bald eagles. We see a lot of all different kinds of the ducks and seabirds.
These bills that are bright orange, all black with these huge bright orange bills, and they hunt for mussels and things and oysters, and they break them open, and they're such great looking birds that I love them.
Oh yeah, right there. Yeah.
Jeffrey and Christine are so friendly and knowledgeable and answer any questions that I have about anything, which is great. The food is spectacular. Christine is an absolutely amazing chef, and there's food provided on the table all day long. The engine room is just amazing. I was so surprised when I walked down to the engine room, and I don't even know what I was expecting, but nothing like the big green monster that it is. It's really nice to just step away from the world and just enjoy what's going on around you. I am going to be so sad to leave this boat. It has gone way too fast. 2 nights is definitely not enough. Listening to all the birds chatter in the morning, it's absolutely heavenly.
So how is this love story going? You can find out by taking the most relaxing boat trip possible while soaking in views of gorgeous scenery and wildlife, enjoying fantastic food, and being pampered by Christine and Jeffrey on the David B.